This man spent 11 years finally clearing a game, never expecting that the moment he beat it, the game world would invade reality. All humans became players. Kang Jin-hyuk, as the only player who had cleared the game and mastered its secrets, immediately realized this was a chance to change his destiny. While everyone else was confused, he had already secured hidden items from the start, and was first to complete hidden achievements in the game, obtaining the strongest skill from his previous playthrough. Just moments ago, Kang Jin-hyuk was still a small-time streamer. He mainly played a trash game called Tower of Trials. It was called trash because the game was insanely difficult. Not only did it have labyrinths stretching over 10,000 kilometers, it also had bosses so powerful they were nearly invincible. Because it was too hard, many players gave up. Only Kang Jin-hyuk spent 11 years, finally reaching the 50th floor, when he received the system's completion notification. There was also an announcement that the game would be updated, but Kang Jin-hyuk had planned to upload his completion video and then say goodbye to this torturous game. His days of streaming 12 hours a month to earn 3,000 bills needed to change. But when he started his stream, ready to say farewell, another stream caught his attention. In the footage, the Tower of Trials from the game had actually appeared in the real world, along with the notification that the Tower of Trials update was complete. All humans became players and received notice that if they didn't clear it within 90 days, humanity would perish. Faced with the real anomaly appearing in reality, Kang Jin-hyuk didn't waste time pondering the reasons, but quickly made his decision and took action. He had clearing experience. As long as he followed his previous experience, he could clear it again, and now he first needed to obtain a rare item. Soon, Kang Jin-hyuk arrived at an underground shop. Tower of Trials was a virtual reality game. The game had some real-world locations, and this was where a hidden item would spawn. The moment he arrived, Kang Jin-hyuk was prompted that he had entered an event area. There were quite a few people around, and Kang Jin-hyuk immediately understood. These people had also played Tower of Trials to some extent. But then someone called out to Kang Jin-hyuk. It was Lee Jong-soo, a manager from his streaming company. Lee Jong-soo knew Kang Jin-hyuk was skilled at this game and wanted to cozy up to him for information. He also tried to leverage the streaming contract to control Kang Jin-hyuk. Remembering how Lee Jong-soo used to exploit small streamers like them, Kang Jin-hyuk gave him a direct headbutt, while coldly saying, "Lee Jong-soo, the world has changed. Show some respect when you speak to me from now on." Kang Jin-hyuk was secretly pleased and about to do it again when the water in the nearby fountain began to boil. The next second, a water column shot skyward. Among lush branches and leaves, a giant tree appeared out of nowhere in the fountain. Kang Jin-hyuk smiled. Just like in his memory, the mangrove of greed that bore treasures had appeared. At this moment, fruits began growing on the tree. These were fruits that could increase attribute points, but there were only 4, immediately attracting everyone's covetous attention. Then everyone rushed forward madly. Meanwhile, Lee Jong-soo cursed that they could have teamed up, but now the opportunity was lost. Kang Jin-hyuk just sneered, "Noob, don't try to boss around this expert." Soon, all fruits from the greed mangrove were picked. Some had already eaten them and gained attribute points. Suddenly, the next second, the previously calm the greed mangrove became agitated. Only then did players realize that after eating all the fruits, the greed mangrove would attack nearby people, while everyone fled in panic. Only Kang Jin-hyuk said to Lee Jong-soo, who was about to run away, "The real treasure hasn't appeared yet. Cooperate with me and get it." Lee Jong-soo thought for a moment, then smiled and nodded. Kang Jin-hyuk said, "First we need to split up and approach it from 2 sides." Lee Jong-soo immediately understood this was to confuse its vision. "The treasure is in the trunk. When we act, neither of us can hesitate, or we're done for." Lee Jong-soo nodded. The next second, Kang Jin-hyuk shouted, "Now!" and started running. But when the tree roots attacked Kang Jin-hyuk, Lee Jong-soo was nowhere to be seen. Lee Jong-soo mocked, "Idiot, I just wanted you to be the decoy." But Kang Jin-hyuk had anticipated this and smiled. The next second, the tree roots that were originally attacking Kang Jin-hyuk directly went after Lee Jong-soo in the distance. "You standing far away are the real decoy, scumbag. Now I should get the treasure." Inside the greed mangrove's trunk was an excellent item that enhanced attributes. However, the greed mangrove's vines were extremely dangerous. But Kang Jin-hyuk, as a gaming expert, just sidestepped once, making the vines crash into each other and attack the greed mangrove itself. With the impact, the greed mangrove's weak point, the mangrove core, was also exposed, just as he had experienced in the game. Then, Kang Jin-hyuk's eyes flashed with cold light as he picked up a sharp stick from the ground. Completely unaffected by the greed mangrove's frenzied attacks, dodging continuously, he was about to reach the greed mangrove. But then, a blue light appeared, followed by swarms of butterflies flying from the greed mangrove. Kang Jin-hyuk immediately recognized these as sleep butterflies that could make people drowsy. He immediately covered his mouth and nose. As long as he held his breath, he could avoid the butterflies' effects. Then with a thrust, Kang Jin-hyuk drove the wooden spike deep into the red core. At the same time, he raised one hand, instantly grabbing for something in the trunk. Leaves withered and vines dried up. The greed mangrove was defeated. The system notified that Kang Jin-hyuk, as the first person to defeat the greed mangrove, his achievement could could dominate the Hall of Fame for a day, but to avoid exposing his identity, he chose anonymous display. Then he reached forward, taking a round bead from the dead the Greed Mangrove. This was the excellent item he sought. The Greed Mangrove Essence Wood Pill. The Greed Mangrove's ordinary fruits could only increase 3 random attribute points, but the Wood Pill could directly add 12 reward points. Players gained 3 reward points per level up. One Wood Pill was equivalent to making Kang Jin-hyuk gain 4 levels. After Kang Jin-hyuk swallowed the Wood Pill, his attribute panel directly gained 12 reward points. Now he was the strongest first-level player. An hour later, Kang Jin-hyuk's video of clearing the Greed Mangrove was posted online by the system, immediately causing an online uproar. At the same time, people offered high prices wanting to contact the player who cleared the Greed Mangrove. The 1 billion salary made Kang Jin-hyuk somewhat tempted, but then he dismissed the thought. Although his life was poor, as the only clearing player, the most important thing he had was information monopoly, which was priceless. Next, he would use his information to obtain the next treasure, affected by the Tower of Trial's appearance. Historical relics outside the tower would gradually become legendary relics. They're not real, of course. Legendary relics that have powers are inside the tower. The ones outside the tower are replicas. In other words, they're copied versions. The place to obtain many legendary relics was the city's museum. However, there was only one museum in the entire city, so people coveting relics would probably gather there, and there would definitely be experts among them. Kang Jin-hyuk pushed open the door. The system notified he had entered an event area. It was very quiet around. But the next second, Kang Jin-hyuk's expression changed. A charred corpse appeared before him. Indeed, experts had arrived before him, and their purpose should all be for the legendary relic called the Great Map. This map recorded the Tower of Trial's various labyrinths, ruins, equipment, and monsters. Although it only had information for the first 10 floors, it was enough to drive people crazy. But actually, there was another legendary relic more precious than the map hidden here. On the museum's second floor, people who came to snatch legendary relics were already in chaos. An old man with fire skills and a young man with petrification skills were fighting. The old man just pointed lightly, and the man was instantly engulfed in flames. So the old man turned to go upstairs, saying, "Leave the rest to you, Lee Yuri." Lee Yuri just touched a sculpture, summoning a powerful kobold. Lee Yuri warned the looters in front of her to put everything down. These were all hers. But Kang Jin-hyuk looked around indifferently, directly picking up a precious ancient painting in front of her. Being slapped in the face, Lee Yuri said with a dark expression, "Want to test how sharp my blade is?" She then sneered, "Go, kill him." The kobold swung its weapon, charging straight at Kang Jin-hyuk. But Kang Jin-hyuk just threw a punch, directly knocking the kobold's weapon away. While others were shocked, Lee Yuri was even more stunned. Kang Jin-hyuk just smiled and said, "Seems your blade isn't that sharp." Lee Yuri told Kang Jin-hyuk not to get cocky. Then she took out 4 more statues from her backpack. The 4 statues instantly transformed into 4 kobolds with different weapons. "I admit I underestimated you earlier, but now, how about this?" Lee Yuri could control 5 kobolds with very little magic, which slightly surprised Kang Jin-hyuk. Some skill, but not much. Probably just a bit better than average. Lee Yuri snorted coldly, pretentious, really annoying. Kang Jin-hyuk said helplessly, "In that case, watch carefully at the gap between you and me." Saying this, he picked up the ancient painting in his hand, throwing it up while instantly infusing it with magic. The next second, in brilliant golden light, a massive tiger appeared beside Kang Jin-hyuk. Lee Yuri turned pale with shock, while the nearby kobolds also whimpered and growled. Kang Jin-hyuk chuckled lightly. Mere desert jackals dared to bare their teeth at the Mountain Lord. Then he gestured, "Mountain Lord, eat them all up." Instantly, the Mountain Lord's massive tiger claws struck, defeating one kobold with just one hit. Then the Mountain Lord opened its bloody maw. Tearing and biting, all kobolds died on the spot. Lee Yuri was now nearly suffocating. She had seen various ways of using legendary relics, but someone this overwhelmingly powerful was a first. Facing the Mountain Lord's intimidation, Lee Yuri collapsed directly to the ground. Then Kang Jin-hyuk came before Lee Yuri, just saying, "Hand it over, give me Tutankhamun's mask." Lee Yuri still wanted to resist, but she was met with the Mountain Lord's roar. So Kang Jin-hyuk successfully obtained the relic mask he wanted. Lee Yuri asked if Kang Jin-hyuk came here for that great map. Kang Jin-hyuk replied, "None of your business." Then stroking the Mountain Lord, he had it stay here to watch everyone, while he prepared to go to the 3rd floor. Time to get the Tower of Trial's strongest skill. When Kang Jin-hyuk came to the 3rd floor to collect legendary relics, he didn't expect an old man to be there too. There was also a barrier ahead. The old man muttered that this was his first time seeing this kind of barrier. Neither physical attacks nor magic attacks were effective. Hearing this, Kang Jin-hyuk reached forward. He sensed this was actually a reverse magic barrier. A string of letters appeared in his mind. "I know a way to break this barrier, but I have a condition. You must keep using fire magic. This way the barrier can be weakened. As for duration, it's until I go in and bring out the legendary relic I need." The old man smiled darkly. This sounded like making him a tool. "You don't have to trust me, but this is the only way. I can give you the relic map you want, and it's almost dawn. You don't want to return empty-handed." Thinking that the government should take action soon rather than return empty-handed, it was better to gamble. The old man finally sighed helplessly, just saying, "Remember to bring me the map." Fire appeared in his hands. The next second, he attacked the barrier fiercely. Taking this opportunity, Kang Jin-hyuk silently recited the string of letters he had obtained. Carpo, instantly arriving on the other side of the barrier. The old man outside urged Kang Jinyek to hurry. Kang Jinyek nodded, indicating he would, but he inadvertently sneered, provided it was within his capabilities. The legendary relics on the third floor hadn't been damaged, except for one broken cabinet. Kang Jinyek knew who did it and who set up the barrier, but he smiled slightly. The other party took what they thought was the precious legendary relic, not knowing the most precious thing was still here. He came before a legendary relic called Sangpyeong Tongbo. This was the final piece of the puzzle for creating his strongest skill. The other materials were the Persian ritual mold and the right eye from Tutankhamun's mask. Kang Jinyek put the two together, instantly releasing golden light. The system notified that two legendary relics were reacting. This was a system notification that only appeared when suitable legendary relics combined. It also told Kang Jinyek that if he continued, he would pay a corresponding price. Kang Jinyek tore off the rope of Sangpyeong Tongbo, then threw it into the golden light. 3 legendary relics were reacting. The system voice sounded, "Congratulations on successfully combining legendary relics with extremely low success rate. You have obtained SS grade legendary relic Eye of Truth." The Eye of Truth could view other players' panels and had 3 chances daily to determine if players were telling the truth. This was the most powerful of the 5 eyes in the game, but Kang Jinyek's purpose here wasn't just this. Then, with the completion notification of the hidden quest to obtain S-grade equipment through 3 B-grade or lower equipment, the opportunity had been achieved. Kang Jinyek knew he was about to obtain a skill that could copy and save countless abilities in the world, and become the strongest player in Tower of Trials. His unique skill for clearing, fusion, the acquisition difficulty was impossibly high, and as long as quest conditions were met, he could copy other players' skills. At this time, the old man outside urged Kang Jinyek to hurry. Kang Jinyek's eyes flashed with golden light. The condition for copying the old man's skill was to make him show genuine emotion. In other words, just anger him. Kang Jinyek turned to the old man and said, "You can stop using your skill now, you actually don't need to do that." The old man was puzzled why he said earlier that the prerequisite for entering the barrier was continuous skill use. While he wondered, Kang Jinyek whispered Carpo, and the barrier disappeared. The barrier earlier could only be dispelled with this incantation, and making the old man use his skill was just a ruse to deplete the old man's internal magic. Now with little magic left, insurance was set. Next was to anger him. The great map in front of Kang Jinyek contained information about all treasures on the first 10 floors of Tower of Trials, useful to others, but useless to him who knew the game inside out. So Kang Jinyek took out a lighter. The old man immediately panicked and shouted, "Kang Jinyek, what are you doing?" Kang Jinyek just whispered, "I don't need this map." Instantly flames rose from below the map. No matter who got this map, they could threaten Kang Jinyek's advantage, so the safest method was to destroy it. Seeing such a precious map destroyed like this, the old man was completely enraged. He wanted to roast this kid. Feeling the old man's anger, the system notified Kang Jinyek that copy conditions were met. Fire element skill copied successfully. Fire element could use flames and increase body resistance to fire, a decent skill. At this time, the old man activated fire element skill again. "But don't you understand why I burned the map?" Kang Jinyek sneered. The next second, fire element skill activated. The map's flames shot skyward. Clearly the same skill as his own, but the old man felt the opponent's power was worlds apart from his own. Realizing the opponent didn't even need the map, he swallowed and asked, "Who exactly are you? If you want to climb the tower smoothly in the future, obediently listen to me. As for you and that little girl Lee Yuri on the 2nd floor, you should level up first. I'll contact you later." Soon after, Kang Jinyek walked out of the museum alone. This trip was very rewarding, and he began planning for the future. With the fusion skill able to copy other skills, he first needed to rank all abilities, then prioritize copying the skills he needed most. Although he couldn't monopolize all opportunities, he didn't want to miss any of the strongest, most important skills. His stomach rumbled with hunger. Kang Jinyek came to a fast food restaurant. The restaurant's TV was reporting news about the invasion of legendary relic storage locations, and legendary relic storage places worldwide had encountered the same situation. The TV then showed a recording. It was footage of him fighting others. While people in the restaurant were shocked at how strong someone could be, the news continued reporting that officials had investigated what Tower of Trials actually was, and used awakened ability users to establish a new department, the Awakener Association. From this, Kang Jinyek understood officials had completely accepted the reality of the world becoming a game. Then, a new figure appeared on the news. This person introduced himself as Han Sangjin, president of the Awakener Association. Han Sangjin's purpose was to recruit capable Awakeners to serve officials, with a base salary starting at 60 million. However, excluding the man who appeared on TV earlier, Han Sangjin solemnly said, "In my capacity as president, I propose to that Awakener, as long as you can join us, we're willing to meet all your conditions. I understand Awakener Association President Han Sangjin came specifically for me, but they underestimate me. One highly skilled player ice more valuable than 100 average players. Tonight at 7, Tower of Trials would fully open." The scene changed. Tower of Trials had opened. This is exactly like the game I played, and almost everyone here is a newbie. As a tower entry commemoration, the tower system gave everyone 100 gold coins. Gold coins were the currency inside the tower. Players could earn them by uploading their battle videos. Every 10,000 views earned 100 gold coins. Players of different levels paid different handling fees. Also, players could only use live stream functions when fighting boss monsters leading to the next floor. When players were reported for fake views or other violations, the tower system would take corresponding punitive measures. This was the only bridge connecting climbers and ordinary tower outside residents. The broadcast system. The higher a player's clearing probability, the more fans and views they got. This was the most interesting setting in Tower of Trials. Understanding the game rules, everyone eagerly rushed in, wanting to secure prime positions for maximum benefit. Earning gold coins isn't hard for me. I don't want to leak my exclusive information by uploading videos first. I've already planned my first step. It's a special path completely different from others. Previously, when attacking Tower of Trials' 30th floor, I encountered a dead end. To enter the next floor, I turned the dozens of floors below upside down, desperately collecting hidden information fragments. Finally, I found the answer in a ruin. Only then did I understand that the character I had painstakingly trained for years was doomed from the start. To clear the game, I had to restart, but this character took 5 years. Deleting meant all efforts were wasted, but without doing so, clearing was impossible. Finally, he gritted his teeth and made the decision. Delete and restart. Now, facing the challenge after clearing, he went straight to the source that made him restart, a labyrinth called Labyrinthus. To conquer the 30th floor later, a core key was in this labyrinth. Thinking about what was inside gave Kang Jin-yuk a headache, but his body honestly pushed open the door. Entering the labyrinth, blue dots of light illuminated the dim environment. Kang Jin-yuk reached out, and a luminous moth landed on his hand, but his expression turned cold. Looking behind him at a group of people who had appeared, he said, "Who are you?" The leader, a woman, immediately explained they saw the labyrinth door was open and came in. The truth was, they had noticed Kang Jin-yuk opening the labyrinth. Seeing him alone, they planned to kill him for his treasure. Kang Jin-yuk saw through their intentions, first activating Eye of Truth to see if they had any use. In Park Hannah's panel information, there was actually an interesting skill that could build rapport with others. Kang Jin-yuk remembered he might need it against another woman. He immediately decided to copy this commune skill. The copy condition was to act together with Park Hannah for 240 hours. Seeing this, Kang Jin-yuk suppressed his killing intent and began enthusiastically introducing himself. Park Hannah and others also introduced themselves one by one, but Kang Jin-yuk was ready to betray his teammates at any time. At this moment, Park Hannah moved closer to Kang Jin-yuk, starting to ask what level he had reached when playing this game before. As she spoke, she linked arms with Kang Jin-yuk. Commune skill activated. The atmosphere between them instantly became much closer. After learning how the commune skill worked, Kang Jin-yuk ruthlessly pushed her away. Park Hannah looked embarrassed, still confused why this guy wasn't affected by her skill. She asked again about what monsters and features this labyrinth had. Kang Jin-yuk nodded and said, "This labyrinth's biggest feature is that it changes position every so often." Others didn't seem to understand what this meant. The next second, violent tremors came from all around. Everyone was terrified. They saw stone pillars on the surrounding walls begin to move. The drastic changes caught everyone off guard. When the tremor stopped, they found some people had disappeared in the previous changes. Someone questioned that there shouldn't be such difficult labyrinths on Tower of Trials' first floor. Park Hannah quickly had the team member with directional sensing lead them out, but this woman told Park Hannah her skill couldn't activate. Kang Jin-yuk looked at these idiots, just thinking that thing should appear soon. But then Park Hannah looked accusingly, stepping forward to question Kang Jin-yuk why he didn't tell them in advance about the labyrinth's changes. Still blaming Kang Jin-yuk for nearly getting them killed, faced with everyone's accusations, Kang Jin-yuk sneered, "Did I ask you to follow me in?" Someone got angry hearing this and was about to fight, but the next second, with a whooshing sound, a bloody giant axe embedded in the wall. As that person fell with a crash, a bull's roar echoed as a terrifying minotaur appeared before everyone. Feeling the minotaur's intimidation, Park Hannah despaired, but saw Kang Jin-yuk suddenly charge forward. Everyone was horrified as the minotaur raised its giant axe aimed at Kang Jin-yuk, then brought it down. Kang Jin-yuk barely dodged, while Kang Jin-yuk performed extreme dodging. A system notification came, "You've acquired the hidden stat gap." This was the key he came to get. The reason Kang Jin-yuk challenged the boss but only dodged without attacking was, each successful dodge gained 0.05 gap attribute points. Every 3 gap points could close a 1-level difference with higher level monsters. This life-risking method was extremely dangerous, but a level 1 player could rapidly grow through this method. Kang Jin-yuk, as a former clearing expert, had completely mastered the Minotaur's attack patterns, but he wasn't satisfied yet. He wanted to pursue the extreme dodge that could gain 1 gap point at once, a deadly strikes extreme dodge. This operation left Park Hannah and others who had wanted to kill Kang Jin-yuk stunned. They were already planning to quietly slip away. "But where do you think you're going?" Kang Jin-yuk pointed to the Minotaur behind him and said, "Dodging this guy's attacks gives hidden skills. Good things should be shared, right?" The next second, the Minotaur swung its giant axe, instantly swinging towards several people. In the whooshing sound, the wall was instantly carved with a huge gash in the pool of blood. Kang Jin-yek still casually said to Park Hana, "You need to run around, staying still won't work." Then said to the Minotaur, "Right?" The Minotaur looked at Kang Jin-yuk in front of it, preparing to attack again. But then violent tremors came from all around. It was time for the labyrinth to change positions again. Layer upon layer of walls instantly separated the Minotaur from Kang Jin-yuk and others. The Minotaur could only roar in impotent rage. On the other side, seeing only two people left on their side, Park Hana asked in shock, "That guy won't catch up, will he?" But Kang Jin-yuk said, "I touched the luminous moth's powder. It will keep attracting the Minotaur to chase us." "Are you crazy? Why did you do this?" Kang Jin-yuk gave Park Hana a look like she was an idiot, of course to increase reward points. Each time the labyrinth changed, he could rest, then wait for the Minotaur to chase over and continue dodging. Park Hana was shocked, asking how many times they'd have to repeat this before it ended. "Until we leave the labyrinth." Exactly 1 month, thinking about staying in this hellish place for 30 days, Park Hana broke down. They planned to get away from Kang Jin-yuk and find an exit. Kang Jin-yuk chuckled. Wandering aimlessly might be even more dangerous, hearing this devil's whisper. Park Hana gritted her teeth and decided to stay with Kang Jin-yuk. But there's no free lunch in this world. Even riding the bus costs money, so hand over all your coins. After getting Park Hana and the others' coins, Kang Jin-yuk immediately opened the trading post. Next, he would use his clearing memory to try synthesizing an S-grade equipment. Kang Jin-yuk bought 3 trash items from the trading post for 450 gold coins. Then Kang Jin-yuk whispered, "Equipment combination, in dazzling light." The system notified, "You have obtained the Goddess Fortuna's Wheel of Fortune." The Wheel of Fortune could raise a player's luck value to maximum within 10 minutes, but usage range was limited. But as a former clearing expert, Kang Jin-yuk clearly understood the Wheel of Fortune's limits. As the wheel spun, the system notified his luck value had reached maximum. Then Kang Jin-yuk took out 10 enhancement book blind boxes, using them all on the short sword in his hand. Instantly, 10 successful enhancement notifications rang out. Congratulations on obtaining a +10 enhanced old dagger. As the server's first +10 weapon, the system rewards 5,000 gold coins. Also, your achievement will be displayed on the Hall of Fame for 1 day. Wielding the short sword, Kang Jin-yuk prepared to continue farming gap points. So 10 days later, Park Hana and her companion were utterly defeated. These 10 days they faced Minotaur attacks daily, followed by life or death, labyrinth changes. The food was only mushrooms and moss. Feeling they couldn't continue like this, Park Hana immediately started a live stream to contact her guild for help. But in Tower of Trials, all information was blocked. The guild was powerless, and reaching this location would take 3 weeks. Thinking of this, Park Hana had another idea. Kill Kang Jin-yuk, then hide in the labyrinth. Maybe they could hold out until guild members arrived. But the problem was how to kill Kang Jin-yuk. When he's sleeping, that's our chance. The man beside her picked up a rock, about to smash it on sleeping Kang Jin-yuk's head. But Park Hana stopped him. Kang Jin-yuk's reaction speed is like a ghost's. The moment we attack, he'd probably jump up and counterkill us. The man asked what to do then. Park Hana sneered, taking out a giant bee poison stinger from her bag. 1 drop could kill 100 giant monsters. Since we're doing this, let's be thorough. The next day, Kang Jin-yuk looked at the stewed mushroom and moss dish, feeling like he was on wilderness survival. But he still asked the man for more and had Park Hana get him some water. Park Hana cursed internally what a demanding person. Watching Kang Jin-yuk eat the poison mushrooms, she couldn't help but show a triumphant smile. Then the wooden plate fell. Black blood spurted out. The man beside them painfully clutched his throat, then collapsed as if poisoned. Kang Jin-yuk sneered, "Idiot! Did you think I'd eat food you prepared without hesitation?" While asking the man to add more food, he had already switched what they ate. Also, Kang Jin-yuk opened the report page, reporting her for secretly live streaming. Live stream function is only for players challenging bosses to the next floor. Your secret use is against the rules. Park Hana still questioned what evidence Kang Jin-yuk had, but Kang Jin-yuk mocked, "I'm so disappointed in you." Then Kang Jin-yuk's finger pressed the report confirmation. Instantly warning red light flashed around Park Hana. The live stream's anonymous system was also removed. Then everyone in the stream seemed to experience an accident and exited. System warning, next time this player will face extremely cruel punishment. Hearing heavy footsteps, both turned around, seeing the Minotaur charging at them. Park Hana urged Kang Jin-yuk to quickly tell her where safety was. But Kang Jin-yuk snorted, "Why should I tell you?" Park Hana hesitated. "Didn't you tell me before?" Kang Jin-yuk had helped Park Hana before, because he needed to complete the 240-hour mission with her. Now with the mission complete, he could copy Park Hana's commune skill, so Park Hana was useless to him. Park Hana panicked, immediately saying her brother was from the guild Black Crow, but the Minotaur directly gave her an axe blow to shut her up, while Kang Jin-yuk leaped into the air and snorted. "Then watch carefully and see which is more terrifying, your stupid guild or me." Saying this, Kang Jin-yuk's form exploded into motion, slashing the Minotaur's neck. Though the wound wasn't large, it broke through defense. Kang Jin-yuk sighed. Indeed, the gap points weren't raised in vain, though he couldn't kill the opponent yet. As long as he kept dodging to increase gap points, he'd eventually be able to kill it. Moreover, he had another method to accelerate gaining gap points. Instantly, Fireball activated, disturbing the Minotaur's vision while Kang Jin-yuk flashed forward, his blade slicing the bull's ankle tendon. As the Minotaur crashed down, Kang Jin-yuk then verbally provoked, "Stop struggling, you're building muscle and the meat won't be tender. Hearing this, the Minotaur roared angrily. Kang Jinyuk whispered, almost there. The next second, with a massive bull's roar, the Labyrinth Guardian Minotaur activated level 10 Berserk. LV10 Berserk could enhance Minotaur's attack speed and movement speed by 30% for 5 minutes, and temporarily increase intelligence, enabling speech. Human, I will tear you apart and scatter you throughout this dungeon so you can never violate this place again. In the midst of this fierce battle, Kang Jinyuk just whispered, bring it on. The next second, as the Minotaur struck with its axe, Kang Jinyuk charged straight ahead. The two clashed in completely frontal combat. This scene left Parkana stunned. A boss that is activated more than a dozen skills cannot be defeated even if all the members of the guild Black Crow come together. But Kang Jinyuk can fight head-on. What she cares more about is that, facing such a powerful monster, Kang Jinyuk is actually smiling at this moment. Now Kang Jinyuk is calm as water. In the past, he always hated the reality that he was standing still no matter how he ran. The unchanging reality would only make him feel deeply powerless. But in this world, as long as you work hard, you will get rewards immediately. At this moment, Kang Jinyuk's gap value has accumulated to 57 points. It is equivalent to reducing the gap of 19 levels, making him more comfortable fighting against the Minotaur. At this moment, when Kang Jinyuk turns his back, the Minotaur seizes an opportunity to launch an attack. But just as the fierce assault begins, Kang Jinyuk lands steadily on the ground. Those fists stop right in front of Kang Jinyuk, unable to advance another step. The Minotaur's Berserk time has ended. Although Berserk mode can boost maximum strength, once the time runs out, the user enters a 24-hour state of suspended animation. So now Kang Jinyuk can leisurely watch the 57 gap points he's earned, calculating that in 20 days he'll have enough to reach 100 gap points. At this time, Park Hannah asks if it's over. Kang Jinyuk just smiles and says, didn't I tell you I'd stay here for a month? There are still 20 days left, so 20 days later. Although the gap points Kang Jinyuk gains from each evasion have dropped to 0.015, he still manages to accumulate 100 gap points. Kang Jinyuk directly punches the Minotaur in the jaw, ending this month-long evasion training. Standing on the bull's horn, Kang Jinyuk is in a good mood. Now there's only one problem left: what to do with Park Hannah. Kang Jinyuk bluntly says his newly opened company is hiring interns. If Park Hannah has value, he can spare her life. Park Hannah urgently explains that her commune skill can improve rapport with others and help with company operations. But Kang Jinyuk has already copied this skill. What else? I will never betray you. Seeing Park Hannah's stammering appearance, Kang Jinyuk whispers, too disappointing. Then, under Park Hannah's terrified gaze, I announce that the first intern of the hardcore gamer company doesn't have Brahm's ring. Before Kang Jinyuk can finish speaking, Park Hannah shouts, I can give you Brahm's ring. That's what my brother traded with the people of Sea Country using Goryo ginseng. Please spare my life. Hearing this, Kang Jinyuk is shocked. Brahm's ring is one of the strongest equipment obtainable on the first floor. It increases movement speed, magic resistance, and can even reduce monster attributes. He immediately activates Eye of Truth and confirms Park Hannah isn't lying. Congratulations, you're now an intern at our hardcore gamer company. However, we don't pay interns, and whenever I call you, whether at S3 AM or whatever island you're on, you must come immediately. Then, amid Park Hannah's confusion, Kang Jinyuk says, also, we need to sign a contract. Kang Jinyuk then selects Commune and Fire Element skills from his copied abilities, and activates Skill Fusion. The system prompts you have acquired Brand of Obedience. This might hurt a little. Park Hannah still doesn't understand what this contract is about. Kang Jinyuk explains, you didn't think I'd make you sign on paper, did you? Welcome to my black company, intern. Then, with a scream, the system prompts, you have left the Brand of Obedience on Park Hannah's face. Brand of Obedience. Those branded must completely obey the caster's commands. Any disobedience will result in burning agony. As the labyrinth gate opens and they see light again, Park Hannah, who was trapped in the labyrinth for 30 days, finally comes out and cries with excitement. The system then announces that each player who clears the labyrinth receives 5,000 coins. Park Hannah is still immersed in the joy of finally breaking even. Then hears Kang Jinyuk coldly say, hand over all your coins. So now Kang Jinyuk has an astounding 10,000 plus coins. Additionally, Kang Jinyuk demands Park Hannah bring him Brahm's ring within 3 days. But Park Hannah says 3 days is too short. In that case, make it 2 days. As the Brand of Obedience activates, Park Hannah says pitifully, no matter what, I'll find a way to get it. At this time, the news reports that the nation's top-ranked gaming guild is preparing to attack the 3rd floor of the Tower of Trials. But in Kang Jinyuk's eyes, having cleared the game before, this is simply laughable. In his view, they're rushing because they want to monopolize the tower's resources. But each floor gives 90 days to clear, and now there's no need to attack even the 2nd floor, let alone the 3rd. If you don't build a good foundation before increasing difficulty, you'll be instantly crushed by the fierce difficulty spike. Moreover, if humanity can't clear the next floor within 90 days, humanity will perish. To understand the current situation, Kang Jinyuk returns home and decides to first collect various information about what happened in the outside world over the past month. However, to accurately and efficiently gather information, he needs to meet a few people. Soon after, Kang Jinyuk arranges an offline meeting with some people he used to game with. These two are Human Baldy Li Taemin and Balguangdong Nuclear Fist Yu Yonhua, along with Captain Farting Kang Jinyuk himself. Though the names are somewhat embarrassing, the group gets along well. Through their conversation, information, Kang Jin-yuk gains a basic understanding of the game's current situation, including the actions of representative guilds from various countries, the movements of streaming broadcasters, and the newly emerged demonic group that kidnaps people to operate coin factories. Additionally, Lin Tian mentions that recently there's been a test due to the dramatically increased casualties on the second floor of the Tower of Trials. So the government's Awakener Association has set up a test that people must pass to continue challenging. Those who pass will bear corresponding identification codes. Hearing this, Kang Jin-yuk understands this is probably the official's method to gather hidden strong players. However, he might be able to utilize this system. Furthermore, in the Awakening test, players rated F-class or below will lose their qualification to enter the second floor. Conversely, players receiving high evaluations will immediately receive invitations from officials and top-ranked guilds. Therefore, people at the Awakening test site can be divided into 3 categories: those praying they can reach F-class or above, paparazzi trying to capture news of high-level strong players appearing, and some geniuses wanting to reveal their strength. The arrivals are Park Hana and Park Hajin, siblings from the guild Black Crow. Additionally, there's another person behind them. This person is Kim Taeji, an expert from the Warrior Guild. Seeing random nobodies also queuing for the test, Kim Taeji immediately has Park Hajin and others drive away all those standing in front of them. During the instant security clearance, Kang Jin-yuk and his group are also affected. The security guard questions what they're doing and why they're not moving aside. Kang Jin-yuk says helplessly, "Naturally, we're queuing and waiting for our turn." Park Hajin comes over to push the bodyguard, reproaching, "You can't even handle such a small matter properly." He immediately points at Kang Jin-yuk, telling him to get lost. Kang Jin-yuk frowns and immediately activates Eye of Truth. While obtaining Park Hajin's status information, the condition to copy his skills is to raise the opponent's hostility to maximum. At this time, Park Hana rushes over to see what's happening, but then her face changes. Her stupid brother is actually provoking that terrifying demon. The next second, with a crack, "What are you barking about?" Park Hajin looks at this guy who appeared out of nowhere. The next second, he pulls out a dagger to teach the other party a lesson. Seeing the opponent courting death, Kang Jin-yuk forcefully squeezes the